That's so important. You can't get better if you don't look honestly and with self-awareness at who you've been over the last 24 hours. The ancients talk about this idea of the good life. They don't really define it. What is the good life? I think that's the question that we all want to know, right? Seneca gives us a clue. He says, one day is equal to every day. I think what he means is that a good life is made up of good days. And the Stoics tell us a lot about what a good day is like. They tell us a lot about what practices or habits or virtues go into having a good day. I've tried to build my own life around good days. I thought I'd give you a day in the life of a Stoic, a day in the life of Ryan Holiday. I get up early, usually 6, maybe 7. I got young kids, so they take care of the alarm clock for me for the most part, but I get up early. Marcus Aurelius talks about struggling at dawn to get out of bed, but he says you have to. He says, you were made to do the work of a human being. He says, you were not made to huddle here under the nice warm blankets. He didn't say getting up early was easy, and getting up early is absolutely not easy. It's hard. I've done it for years, and it's still hard. I remember writing that quote down and putting it on my wall in my college dorm room, because I didn't want to get up early. I needed the help, and I still need the help. Under the blankets is no way to fame. That's what Dante says. I'm not trying to be famous, but I am trying to be great at what I do. My first rule of the day is no phone. I don't touch the phone for the first 1 hour I'm awake minimum. I don't want to be an item on someone's to-do list. I don't want to be reactive based on what's happening on social media. I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to go in that black hole of deviceness. What I do with that time is I spend it with my family. We go for a long walk. I put on a weight vest, I grab my 2 kids, I put them in a stroller, and we walk. Sometimes as much as 3 miles. We walk up and down. We have a 1.5 mile dirt road from our house to the mailbox. We do that, we check the mail, we turn around, we come home, and we're just outside. We look at the deer, we look at the rabbits, we look at the ants crawling along the road, we pick up trash if we see it, we watch the sun come up. My kids sing songs, they ask questions, we tell stories, my wife and I talk if she comes with us. It's just one of the best parts of the day. And by the time I get home, my mind is in such an incredible place of peace. I'm just centered and happy. So it's great. Then I go right into my journaling, and I sit down with 3 journals. One of them, the Daily Stoic Journal. There's really no way to separate Stoicism and journaling. They're the same thing. You know, Marcus Aurelius' meditations is to himself. It's his journal to himself. So the journal helps me clear my mind. It helps me get centered, helps me remember, helps me work on myself. Seneca talks about putting each day up for review. That's so important. You can't get better if you don't look honestly and with self-awareness at who you've been over the last 24 hours. So I want to see what I can improve, where I fell short. The pages in my journal, they're just for me. I never will show anyone. I don't even often look at them myself, but it's the process of writing them down that helps me get better. Then I get to my office, which I love. You know, it's this old building, and I just love walking into it. I love thinking about the people who've been here before me. I love thinking of the things they've endured, this pandemic. I mean, the people that came into this building, they worked through the Spanish flu, World War I, World War II, the Cold War, 68, 9/11, all of it. And it centers me. You know, I find that really humbling, but also inspiring. I think about that history as I'm putting my stuff in the fridge and walking up to my desk. For me though, as soon as I get here, it's right into the deep work. That's what I want to start my day with. I want to do it early before stuff can intervene. I want to do it while I'm still fresh. So I do my writing in 2-3 hours. That's it. And that probably doesn't seem like a lot, but the Stoics knew that good work is realized by small steps. It's not a small thing, but good work is created in small steps. Like 10 books. How was I able to write 10 books? A couple hours a day for 10 years. There's no real secret. Steady day after day work. The books come out of the backside of sitting and doing the work every day. And by the time I'm done writing, it's time for me to break fast. I do intermittent fasting, so I stop eating around 5:30. I don't eat until 10 or 11. I found that really shrinking that window that I eat has been a great Stoic exercise in discipline, right? The Stoic virtue of discipline is an important one. I think asserting some discipline over my eating habits rather than just eating whenever I'm hungry, eating whenever I'm bored, eating whenever I'm feeling like it. I don't want to think about or crave food at any other time. While I'm eating lunch, that's one of the times that I read during the day. Seneca says that the mind that's not given over to relaxation will crack and break. So taking some time to read. How do I read so much when I have kids? It's putting it into little places like this in my life. I'm always reading one book at a time. I'm always using physical books. I'm taking notes. It's not really about the raw time you spend reading. It's about what you read and how you read, the Stoics say. I read with a pen. I read with note cards. I'm taking notes. I only read physical books. Epictetus talks about how it's not what you read, but how you read. And it's not just reading, but of course, what books you're deciding to read. Then after this, it's, back to the grind, email, meetings, phone calls, doing videos like this if I have to. Anything you do, you can do philosophically. So I take these things seriously, but I don't want to build my day around them, and I want to put them in the proper prioritization. If I don't write, that's not a successful day. If I don't do a video, who cares, right? If I don't get to all my emails, who cares? So it's important that you prioritize the right things in your day. The main task for the day, keep the main thing, as they say. I don't resent the other stuff, but I do try to limit their scope. I want to limit the creep so they don't consume me. In the late afternoon, I go home, spend time in the pool with my kids, we play crazy games. The Stoics don't talk enough about joy, and that's a shame. And I know they experience joy. Seneca talks about, kids playing with sandcastles on the beach. There's this story of this Spartan king who's caught by one of his men. He's riding a stick horse around the house with his kids, and the king looks at him and he says, "Don't tell anyone about this, and don't you dare judge me until you have kids yourself." The time I spend with my kids, the crazy stuff we do, the things I do to make them laugh, this is the stuff that makes life worth living. This is the fun stuff. Once you have kids, you realize you'll do anything to make them laugh. It adds a sort of levity and fun and sweetness to your life. It's just opened me up. I could probably make more money staying at the office, working longer. I could do more meetings, do more talks, make more videos, and sure, I'd benefit from that. But the reason I do those things is so I have the freedom to spend time with my family. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not successful. I'm not having the kind of life that I want. Dinner with the family comes next. I haven't missed a dinner with the family in 7 months. It's been a huge gift of the pandemic. We eat, and then we go for a second walk as a family. We usually do the second walk around our property. We look at the trees, we dig holes, we mess around, we look at stuff. It's wonderful to see like our property through our kids' eyes. It makes me appreciate things. It makes me feel grateful. Again, it's that joy thing. When Seneca's talking about that kid making a sandcastle at the beach, I want to get to that place. I want to make sure every single day has some of that. When we get home, then it's farm chores, feeding the cows, checking on the donkeys, get them hay if they need to. It's extra work to live on a farm, like no question, it's not easy, but it's good work, I talk about this in stillness. It's like connecting with the land, being outside, doing something, like doing manual labor is really important. I really get a lot out of it. I know Marcus Aurelius loved nature. He talks about walking through a field and seeing the grain bending low under its weight. Talks about the flecks of foam on the boar's mouth, checking on the olive trees. I go out in the back field, I hear the cows yelling, I watch the sun come down. I'm like totally at peace. And it's back home, put the kids to bed, we read poetry together, we read books, we have a snack, I put them in the bath. Epictetus talks about, he says, as you tuck your kid into bed at night, you have to tell yourself that they might not make it till morning. That's like maybe the hardest thing to do in the whole world. It goes against like every fiber of my being. But I actually do this, and I know it seems crazy, but I do this, and I recommend that you do it too, because it immediately slows you down. It immediately makes you present. You go, how many more days of this am I gonna get? Why am I rushing? Why am I saying, no, only one more book? Why am I refusing to tuck them in extra special, right? So I can go check email, so I can go watch Netflix? Please, right? No, this is the most important thing because you don't know how many times you get to do it. That slows me down and it becomes one of the most cherished, important parts of the day. When they're asleep, that's when I take a little me time. I work out, I run, swim, bike. Practicing endurance sports has been a huge part of my life for a really long time. The Stoics call this the hard winter training. Are you training? Are you practicing for adversity? Are you building up your muscles literally and figuratively to endure? The secret for me is I get like all my best ideas running. I usually come back and I'm scribbling a bunch of notes that I'm then gonna use when I do my writing in the morning. So it's physically and mentally rewarding for me. Then I'm back, time with the wife, we read, we watch stupid TV together, we hang out, we talk, we clean up the house. That's our alone time together. In bed, I read a little. I have a copy of my original copy of Marcus Aurelius on my bedside table. I go through it. I read whatever book I'm into. Then it's bed. Important rule, no phone in the room. I do not want to be interrupted while I'm sleeping. I do not want to be tempted by the phone. So I talked about not having the phone in the morning for an hour, but since I stop, at 10 or so o'clock when I leave it outside the room, that means I'm going into the day with 8, 9, 10 hours no phone. And that's been really important for me, and it's created a lot of balance. I fall asleep and honestly, I say to myself, like, that was the best day ever. I'm so lucky that I got that. I lived. That's what I think. I think I lived. And this is important. Seneca says that the person who goes to bed telling themselves, I have lived, I have had a full day, when they wake up, if they wake up the next morning, it's a bonus. You feel lucky. It's a blessing. And so every day I wake up with a blessing because of how I lived the day before. I've had a good life, right? One day was a good life. And now when I do wake up, I get to do it for one more day. A day in the life of the Stoic is that. It's the good life. And it's gratitude for the good life. And it's presence for the good life. And it's joy during the good life. But it's also responsibility and good work and focus and intentionality, being there for other people. But most of all, it's a gift. And life is a gift if you decide to open it, if you decide to live this way, if you decide to have a Stoic day. And I hope you do. I'm inviting you to have one. The good news is if you messed up today already, well, if you're lucky enough to have tomorrow, you can still do it right. It's not too late.